Hello and welcome to the United Community Channel. We're back with another transfer news show. Plenty to get into. Harry Kane, as you can see, Mason Mount being linked with United, defenders, midfielders. Let's get right into it. Hope you like that little intro. It took me a while to do that, but you're all more than welcome, guys. Thanks to everybody for joining. If you're new to the channel, do hit the subscribe button. As you know, it helps out the channel an awful lot. And please do drop a like on the video as well. But let's jump straight into it. Like you said, we've got plenty to talk about today. The original, I suppose, title of this video was in relation to Mason Mount, but some news has been breaking on Harry Kane in the last hour or so, I made a change to it. But we're going to get into Mason Mount. We're going to talk about Harry Kane. We're going to talk about potential attacking midfielder for Manchester United as well, and some outgoings for Manchester United. It's going to be a busy summer by all reports, so let's jump straight into it. And of course, as always, get your thoughts and comments into the chat. This is very interactive, so I'd love to hear from everybody. Let me know what you're thinking as we're going down through them. But as you can see straight away, we're going to be talking about Harry Kane. And of course, he is Manchester United's number one target this summer. And I suppose, stories have been slowly but surely gaining a bit of momentum over the last couple of weeks, which is good to see. Obviously, it's there's still a lot of debate between Manchester United fans, whether it's Harry Kane, it's Victor Osimhen. We're going to talk about Victor Osimhen as well in a few moments. But if we look at this report, obviously there's multiple reports talking about this in relation to Harry Kane in the last few hours. Manchester United to move as quickly as possible for Harry Kane and are prepared to act fast to sign Harry Kane from Spurs at the end of the season. Now, this is coming from Jacob Steinberg of The Guardian, who claims that Erik ten Hag is obsessed with Kane, believing that Kane can help transform United into a title challenger next term. And with Kane among the prime strikers in world football, it's easy to see why England captain should be an attractive proposition for United. So, look, I mean, it's pretty straightforward in relation to this story. Manchester United are desperate for a striker. Harry Kane has a year left on his contract, and it's a no-brainer, really, in my opinion. I think it's an absolute no-brainer. I think a lot of people have been saying that, and Chris even says it there in the chat straight away. He said, no way Kane is coming. It's this summer's De Jong. I don't think it's going to be like that. I really don't. I think it's the gist that I'm getting for it and the vibes that I'm getting from Harry Kane is that he wants out of Spurs. I think he's had enough of it. He is a couple of months away from his 30th birthday and he is looking to win trophies. Now, we've said this before. I don't think there's going to be any shortage of suitors for Harry Kane. I think he's going to have a lot of offers on the table. And I think the majority of big offers maybe outside of Manchester United are going to come from abroad. I really do. I don't think he wants to go abroad. Is he around 50 to 60 goals away from Alan Shearer's record in the Premier League? I mean, a couple of good seasons and he can do it. You know, he really can. So, look, I think it's all set up for United to go all out for Harry Kane. I think he does fit in nicely into the way Ten Hag likes to play as well. I think he will. Obviously, he's that goal-scoring poacher that, you know, we would love to have at Manchester United because goals are at a premium this season. You know, we haven't been scoring an awful lot. You take Marcus Rashford out of the equation, and Manchester United are struggling for goals. So I think, number one, that's what Kane gives you. I think, number two, we're looking at very good link-up play with Harry Kane. I think since his career has progressed, I think maybe since the Jose Mourinho days, Jose played him a little bit deeper, like to get him to link up a lot more. And when we look at the link-up play that he's had with Heung-min Son over the last few years, it's up there with the greatest partnership in Premier League history. And I look at Harry Kane, I look at the way he plays, and I look at Heung-min Son, and I look at the way he plays, and I think to myself, could you imagine if Marcus Rashford and Harry Kane strike up even a vaguely similar connection between each other? And I do agree that if we sign Harry Kane, I think we can overnight transform into potential title challengers. Now, that doesn't mean Manchester United could go on and win the title. Absolutely not. But I think, like we said, goals are at a premium. And you look at what Marcus Rashford is doing this year. If he can do that again next season with a Harry Kane beside him, Anthony chipping in with some more goals, Bruno Fernandes teeing them all up, Casemiro behind him holding the fort. I mean, it really does sound good. And like, if we look at what United have been doing over the last couple of weeks and months, our defense has been relatively solid this season. And so it's sorry guys. So yeah, I mean, look, it's just got handed the baby monitor as you do. But yeah, look, I think it's very positive news coming out of Manchester United. I think Harry Kane is a welcome addition in my eyes. I really do. So Chris asks, so let me ask this: can Rashford play to the strengths of Kane? I don't see why not, Chris. No, I really don't. I mean, you look at the way Marcus Rashford plays. I think he plays very, very similarly to the way Heung-min Son plays. Off the left, loves to cut in, plenty of pace, and yeah, I just see it working. I really do. I really do see it working. I mean, you put 30 goals a season into this Manchester United squad this season, we're challenging for the title. We really are. And, you know, we've had our blips this season defensively. And I think throughout the whole season, I think our defense has been pretty solid. But we've lacked goals. And that's been our issue. Now, I mean, even with the 7-0s and the you know, the 5 or 6 we conceded against Man City, and your 4s against Brentford and all of our Brightons, and these types of games, very isolated incidents. But what has been a consistent throughout our season is our lack of goals in games. And up until only recently, Marcus Rashford doesn't score, we don't win. So it's been interesting. Chris says Rashford didn't play well with Ronaldo. I think that's completely different. Ronaldo is a, how do I put this? I was going to say Ronaldo is a lot more selfish, but Harry Kane is a very selfish player also. I think you have to be, but there has to be a leading goal scorer. There really does. Now, does Marcus Rashford be happy with 15 to 20 goals a season if Harry Kane is the one getting the 30 plus goals? That remains to be seen. I think if Marcus Rashford is getting 20 plus goals a season from the left, then I think he's going to be happy. And I don't think it's going to be a rigid way of setting up if we do sign Harry Kane, you know, where, you know, Marcus has to stick on the left and Kane has to, you know, be our last man forward and all this. He's going to drop out. He's going to create space for Rashford to get in behind. I think that's the way Ten Hag likes to play. I think that's why he likes Martial. You know, Martial tends to drop out into midfield, take a couple of defenders with him and create a lot of space in behind. We've seen even Wout Weghorst doing that because we know he doesn't score a lot of goals. What he tends to do is drop out into midfield, pull a couple of defenders with him and create some space. So, look, I'm really excited. And you know, anybody who's watched this previously knows my thoughts on Kane. I think he transforms us into title challengers overnight. I really do. I hope we get the job done. And I hope we get him over the line. But the worry is, you know, this. It's obsession about takeover. It's an obsession about getting the job done and getting the deal over the line as quickly as possible. And I think the takeover of Manchester United is going to hold this up. I really do. If this is our number one target, then okay, I'm sure there is money already there for Manchester United to go out and spend. Now, if we're waiting on a takeover to get done before we can get in 4 or 5 players, I think we should be concentrating on our number one target. Now, it just happens to be that a number one target, obviously being a striker, you're dealing with a club and a chairman of a club that historically have been very, very difficult to deal with in Daniel Levy and Spurs. And things tend to just drag on and drag on. Daniel Levy will try and squeeze every penny out of you. So it depends how much we haven't really heard the kind of money that's going to be available to Erik ten Hag this summer if the takeover hasn't been, progressed by the start of the transfer. I think it will. I think we'll find out. By all accounts, we're going to find out by the end of the week. Again, I don't, does that mean that that's the final decision of the Glazers, or can, bidders come back in with another bid? We don't know. But we'll see what happens. Let's see. The Last Poet says, everywhere reports Mount going tonight. Yeah, we're going to get into Mount now in a moment. Chris says, I agree, just playing devil's advocate. Plus, I want Osman. # no Kane. You will not want Osman in a moment. I'll tell you that right now. And the reason why you won't want Victor Osman is because of this. And it's just crazy, crazy reports coming out of Italy. Napoli willing to entertain irresistible £191 million offer from Manchester United for duo who can solve Ten Hag's issues. Now let's go down through some of this, because this is just crazy, crazy money. And the majority of this money, by the way, is going to be going on Victor Osman if it is to go through. Let me just put it out there first and foremost. I don't want this to happen. I really don't. Napoli are prepared to sell both Kim Min-jae and Victor Osman to Man United this summer if they meet their £191 million demands, according to reports. The Red Devils have made signing a striker the top priority for the summer transfer window, with widespread reports indicating Tottenham's Harry Kane as their main target. However, with Tottenham chairman Daniel Levy reportedly unwilling to sell Kane for less than 100 million, Man United need to keep their options open in the summer. Victor Osman is one player who's been linked heavily, with the main doubt over a potential transfer being his price tag, as Napoli ask for around €160 million for his signature. Crazy, crazy money. Really, really is crazy money. That would make him, if I'm correct, that would make him the second most expensive player of all time behind Neymar. And I think it's just absolute crazy money. It really is. And for a player that you are going to be taking a gamble on, Victor Osman. And this is my worry. My worry is Victor Osman could easily turn into a player that comes from the Serie A. He's been in the Bundesliga before that. He comes to the Premier League and flops. Now, are you going to gamble 150 million on a player who is not proven in the Premier League, has never scored a goal in the Premier League? Technically, I know I'm playing devil's advocate there. And on the flip side of it, you have a Harry Kane who you will get for cheaper, albeit he is 5 to 6 years older than Osman, but he is guaranteeing you 30 goals a season. And this has been my argument all along in relation to Harry Kane. I think Harry Kane is the safer option, regardless of his age and regardless of whether you're going to spend 80 to 100 million on him, and regardless of whether it's going to drag on for a month or two. I think Harry Kane will adapt into Erik ten Hag's squad and his game plan very quickly. Ideally, you would like all your players signed before you go on pre-season tour. I think Harry Kane, and again, this is all speculation, but if we weren't to get Harry Kane before we went on tour, let's say he missed 3/4 of the pre-season tour, or half the pre-season tour, for example, I wouldn't be overly worried. I think Harry Kane would fit into the way Ten Hag likes to play quite easily. He's able to score goals in the Premier League, so I don't think it would be a massive deal. But let me put it out to you. Would you rather spend 150 million on Victor Osman or 80 million on Harry Kane? So let me know in the chat, let me know in the comment section below, because it is a huge gamble. It's a huge gamble for Manchester United if they go out and spend 150 million on Victor Osman. And I have to say, I don't feel comfortable with it. I really don't. Whether it happens or not is another thing. But Look, Manchester United are desperate for a striker. That's the issue, and I think Manchester United will more than likely go all out for Kane, more so than Victor Osimhen, due to the price tag. Due to the price tag. Let's see. Chris says Levy will not let Kane go for 80 million. 80 million sterling. I think he will. I think some negotiations can be done. I think we get him for 80 million. I think he is playing his first card, and he is saying, if you want him, this is what we're getting, or this is what you need to pay. But United will say, well, hold on now a minute. He's got 1 year left on his contract. He'll be 30 in July. You're not going to get 100 million for anybody for him. Here's 80 million. Give him to us now. Let's just get the deal done nice and quickly. So I think that's potentially what could happen. But we wait and see. Oshin says, blowing your load on an unproven, not for me. Yep, I agree. Chris says, I bet a haircut on that one. You want to bet a haircut on it, Chris? You bet a haircut. I'll pick the hairstyle for you. Paul is in the chat as well. Good to see you, Paul. Thanks for joining. He said, enjoy these bags of potatoes. Good to see you, pal. Looking forward to the game tomorrow night. If anybody hasn't checked it out, guys, the match preview is up on YouTube as well. Go check it out. Give it a watch. Give it a thumbs up, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Chris says, so by your standards, we should never buy a player outside the Prem. No, I'm not saying that at all. But I will never buy a player outside of the Prem for 150 million unless it's Mbappe or, Messi in his prime. Victor Osimhen has had a very good season in the Serie A. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? Harry Kane has had a very good season in the Premier League in a shit Spurs team. He's got 28 goals this season. That's all I'm saying. But let's move it on, guys. And obviously, there's been, huge reports over the last, I suppose, day or so in relation to this man, Mason Mount. United are ready to rival Liverpool with a £55 million bid for want away Chelsea star. And yeah, look, I mean, obviously we know that Manchester United and Erik ten Hag are looking to improve the midfield in the upcoming transfer window. I don't think it's a big surprise. These reports have come really, really fast, and they've come from numerous outlets. Let's go down through some of it. Manchester United are reportedly keen on signing Chelsea's Mason Mount this summer. That's according to the Daily Mail. Now, there has been a lot more reports out since this original one. It suggests that Red Devils are readying a £55 million bid for the midfielder, who is set to leave Stamford Bridge in the forthcoming transfer window. The 24-year-old is about to enter the final year of his current contract and seemingly has no desire to extend his stay with his boyhood club, so Chelsea will be keen to get a fee they deem worthy for their academy graduate. The board are believed to value Mount at 85 million. Now, you can fuck off with 85 million for Mason Mount. Whatever about 55 million, absolutely no way would I be anywhere in agreement in any way, shape, or form in terms of spending 85 million on Mason Mount. Absolutely no way. And it's, obviously Paul is in, so he's a Chelsea fan. He says, don't you be going anywhere near Mason Mount. Chris says you can keep him. Oshin says you can keep him, Paul. Poor man's Ward Prowse. So, look, I mean, my opinions here on Mason Mount, and again, what I've mentioned here is that these reports have come out very fast in relation to Mason Mount. And again, look, it's coming from David Ornstein here as well. Breaking news, Mason Mount is leaning towards joining Manchester United. Talks expected to commence between the clubs in due course. Now, that's coming from David Ornstein. So you're talking tier one here. He also says a number of hurdles must be cleared in relation to a deal for Mason Mount. United are also prioritising the signing of a striker, and there remains a lack of clarity over their ownership. So United seem to be moving fast here, and these reports have grown legs very quickly as well, which is interesting, and which means there tends to be some you know, substance to it. You know what I mean? This is not, you know, the Sun coming out with a, you know, with some nonsense report. This is proper. United are in for Mason Mount. Now, a couple of things that I would be, you know, concerned about is Mason Mount is a sorry, my daughter's singing to herself. Mason Mount is a academy graduate. He's a Chelsea lifer. So why is he leaving Chelsea? That's what I'm talking about here. You know, you look at academy players for Manchester United down through the years. Very rarely do you see an academy player with quality and that's good enough maybe to get into the United team to leave for another club in England. So, you know, has Mason Mount got a bad attitude? Has he maybe got no more commitment left to Chelsea, given how bad they've been this season, you know, how poor of a season it is, the new ownership there. These are the kind of questions that I would be asking about Mason Mount wanting to leave Chelsea and go to Manchester United. He really should be at Chelsea for the rest of his career because he is an academy player. And look, I think he's a decent player. I do. I don't think he is the type of player that comes in and takes United from fourth in the Premier League to champions. But he would be a squad player for me. Now, 85 million for a squad player is nonsense. I don't want to be spending 85 million on a squad player. But is he good enough? That's the question. You know, me personally, in relation to a midfielder, he's not box to box enough for me in relation to a midfielder. If you look at what we've got already, obviously Casemiro is a, you know, linchpin in that midfield, and he ain't going anywhere next season. He's going to play the majority of games. Bruno Fernandes is going to be playing the majority of the games in the 10. I think what we need more than anything else is a box to box midfielder, you know, that can defend and that can link up with attack as well. You know, obviously the dream scenario would be Frankie de Jong, and I think Mason Mount is nowhere close to him. But it remains to be seen. It remains to be seen. And again, I will go back and I will say this as long as it's relevant, that if Eric Ten Hag wants a player, then I'm behind him until he gets more wrong than he gets right. You know what I mean? And as of now, he's basically got it all right. You know, who have we signed? Casemiro, right. Antony has had a decent first season, so he hasn't got it wrong. Martinez, he's got it right. Eriksson, he's got it right. Even Malacia, I think he's got it right. You know, signing Sabitzer, I think he's got that one right. Weghorst, no other real option, so he didn't really get that wrong. So until Ten Hag gets more wrong than he gets right, I'm behind him on whoever he wants to sign. Let's see what people here are saying. Chris says he wanted to be the highest paid player at Chelsea. Paul says he wanted more money than Sterling and to be the highest paid in the team, all money. Well, again, that's not a good thing to hear as a Manchester United fan, you know. So attitude, you know. Niall says he's bang average, will not improve us. Oshin says might have to get English quota through. Maybe so. You're also getting the English tax on top of him if he's looking at an 85 million transfer fee. Paul says, please sign Havertz. You love him. You couldn't pay us to take him off your hands. You really couldn't. But yeah, I mean, look, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Mason Mount. I think, look, I'm not overly against the signing, but look, I think he improves us. That's the one thing I would say. I think he improves our squad. I think he's an upgrade on Fred. I think he's an upgrade on Scott McTominay. And I think he's an upgrade on Donny van de Beek. Now, let's look here. And let me zoom in a little bit on it for you. Now, we're talking about Manchester United here. Harry Maguire is set to leave the club. I'll come back to that one. There are question marks over the futures of Martial, Diogo Dalot, Wan-Bissaka, Fred, McTominay, Donny van de Beek, Anthony Elanga, and Brandon Williams. So big overhauls this summer. Now, if we're looking at these three, for example, three midfielders, that if you were to bring Mason Mount in, I think he's an upgrade on these three midfielders. Now, of course, we need more if we're going to be getting rid of. I don't think we're going to get rid of Fred, but I think Donny probably goes, and I think Scott McTominay probably goes. So I think he's an upgrade. I really do. But he comes in as a squad player, in my opinion. He really does. If he comes in and if we get him for the right amount, I don't want to be going and spending, 85 million on Mason Mount as a squad player when, you could go out. You could probably get Frankie de Jong for that money. Do you know what I mean? I don't like, what were we being quoted with Frankie de Jong last year? Was it 65 million or something like that? Now, obviously he has had a bit of a resurgence. I don't see him leaving Barcelona, but if he was, he would probably be around that price, the 80 million mark. So I think it's Chelsea looking to get some money back, knowing that they've overpaid for an awful lot of players and they're trying to clear the house, let's see. Paul is in. Good to see you, Paul. Thanks for joining us. The other Paul says, Man City are 1-up on Brighton. Foden has scored. Niall says, Wan-Bissaka has to stay. He has been very good this season and improved us going forward. I agree with you on that one, Niall. I really do. I think all of a sudden right full is not such an area of concern given how well Wan-Bissaka has played this season. And let's not forget Delors had a really good first half of the season as well. But we've seen Wan-Bissaka keep him out of the team on the back of some really, really good performances. And what we said about Wan-Bissaka more than anything else was we wanted his attacking game to improve. And I think Ten Hag has improved him an awful lot. We know how good he is defensively. And I think the the improvements we've seen of him going forward, getting involved in play, linking up. He's showing up in the box an awful lot, which I think Ten Hag looks like he's insisting on Wan-Bissaka to do that. I think he stays. I really do think he stays. I've been really impressed with him, and I'd be old school when it comes to fullbacks. Obviously, I played in that position myself at a local level, so I always try and keep an eye out for fullbacks, and I love. I understand that modern fullbacks have to be able to go forward and get involved in play and not just be good at, crossing the ball and defending. They have to be able to link up. They have to be able to, be able to find a pass. They have to be able to, be a bit creative when they want to be. But still, I will always go back. Defenders have to defend first and foremost. You have to be good at defending before you're able to go forward and do all of these things further up the field. And I think Wan-Bissaka is arguably the best one-on-one defender in the world. I think Kyle Walker is up there as well with him. Outside of them two, name me another fullback that's as good 1v1 defending than Wan-Bissaka is. But anyway, let's see. Oshin says he's a real Poch type player, in my opinion. Another Son or Ali for him. Maybe so. And look, Pochettino might come in the summer and go, Mount, you're not going anywhere. You know what I mean? And say, look, I'm happy to. And would Chelsea be happy to lose him on a free next year? Probably not, because they've spent so much money and they want to be able to spend more. But I'll ask Paul in the chat, would you rather us, because obviously you're a Chelsea fan, would you rather sell Mason Mount this summer for 50 million or risk losing him on a free next summer? It'd be interesting to get your take on it. Chris says, bring me Frimpong, Kim Min-jae, Rabiot, Ward-Prowse, Lavia and Kane. Well, Ward-Prowse can stay exactly where he is. I don't rate him at all. He's a set piece specialist. That's it. Yeah, I don't rate Ward-Prowse at all, really. Niall says, plus he is still a young player. Yeah, I mean, Mason Mount is only 20, what is he, 24? Is that what we said? Yeah, 24 years of age. So you're getting youth as well. Paul says, did you see Poch wants to bring Kane to Chelsea? And Kane said when Poch left Spurs, he would love to work with him again one day. I don't think it will ever happen, Paul. I really couldn't see Harry Kane. I don't see Harry Kane staying in London. if he leaves Spurs. Obviously, he can't go to Arsenal. He couldn't go to Chelsea. You don't really go anywhere else other than them two. But look, we understand that Chelsea need a striker. I can see Chelsea going all out for Osman. I really can. But don't you also have a pre-contract agreement with Nkunku as well? So I would be really, really surprised if Kane ended up going to Chelsea. I really would. And he also says, get every cent we can for him now and bring in someone better. There we go. But yeah, I mean, look, it's interesting to see what's going to happen with Mason Mount. Obviously, Liverpool are in the running. But let's go back to this tweet, guys. And you know, it's interesting, and this is coming from Chris Wheeler in the Daily Mail. Obviously, there's question marks, but the main one is Harry Maguire, and he's set to leave the club. Now, look, we know that United are being linked with Kim Min-jae. Let me just get up the actual report on that now as well, because I forgot to... where is it? It's back here a little bit. But yeah, I mean... now, there we go. I'm going to put, what do we do there? I'm going to put it up here. Wrong one. Let me put that there. So, yeah. So, look, if we're talking about Harry Kane here, you know, obviously, if we're going to be looking at bringing in Kim Min-jae in the summer, he's got a release clause, and Napoli are very concerned about it. And we all know that because we're going to get him for dirt cheap. If we do get him, given the quality he has, it's very similar to the Haaland deal with Man City. There was a release clause there. You know, you can get him on the cheap and the deal is done nice and quickly. No mess acting around. Now, Harry Kane is not getting a sniff in at the moment. Victor Lindelof is playing ahead of him. Luke Shaw is playing ahead of him. And obviously Varane and Martinez play ahead of him when they're fit. Now, you're bringing in a Kim Min-jae, and you think Harry Maguire is going to come up the pecking order? Absolutely not. Absolutely not whatsoever. I think Harry Maguire, if he does stay at if Harry Maguire stays at Manchester United this summer, with Kim Min-jae potentially coming in, Lindelof already ahead of him, Shaw already ahead of him, and Shaw's not even a centre-back. If Harry Maguire stays this summer, either he's crazy to think that he can get his place back, or B, he's happy just to sit back and pick up a check, which are not the type of players you want to have in your club regardless. So I think it's time for Maguire to move on. I really do. And I think he will move on. Where he goes, obviously there's been links with West Ham. So let's see what happens. But when we're talking about Kim Min-jae here, as reports are suggesting here, Napoli are desperately trying to convince Kim Min-jae to sign a new contract before a release clause in his current deal kicks in for the first 2 weeks in July. So as we know, the fee, a fee to exact Kim from Napoli in early July will range between 40 million and 60 million euro. And though the final figure is understood to be fluid and related to the buying club's turnover. So look, you're going to get him for a minimum, or for a maximum of 60 euro and a minimum of 40 million euro. Apologies. So look, I just think I think it's a no-brainer. United are desperate for a centre-back. I think City are pretty good for centre-backs. I think Liverpool are probably good for centre-backs. I think Chelsea could get a centre-back with, you know, Thiago Silva being nearly probably a grandfather at this stage. But all roads are leading to Manchester United for Kim Min-jae, in my opinion. And I think it should get done relatively quickly. These are the types of deals you want to get done. And Oshin says it perfectly here. He says, just do it quick, no short changing or negotiating like the last few years. Pay the clause, get it in, get it done. There we go. Has to, you know, there's no other way of saying it. And especially when you're looking to get a number of deals done this summer. If United are going to be selling up to 10 players this summer, then the deals that we are going to be trying to get over the line for players to come in, we need to do it fast, you know. So I totally agree with you there. Now, while we're on, to get back to the midfield, obviously we spoke about Mason Mount. Some reports suggesting today that Arsenal and Manchester United transfer boost as Mohamed Kudus' agent confirms plan to leave Ajax. Now, this guy is a player, in my opinion. This guy is a player. Let's go down through the report here. Ajax star Mohamed Kudus is set to become available this summer in this summer's transfer market, as his agent revealed he has rejected a new offer from Ajax in relation to a new contract. His agent has gone on the record that the upcoming window is the right time for the Ghanaian to find a new club following his impressive form in the Dutch side and at the Winter World Cup. Arsenal, Manchester United, Newcastle and Liverpool have all been linked with Kudus, 22 years of age, with reports in the Netherlands naming his price tag at around a 40 million mark. Now, this is what we're talking about. Now, if you're looking, I want to get into some of this guy's stats because he's a very, very, very good footballer. Position, he's a forward, so he's an attacking midfielder. He's left-footed, which means you can play him on the right. And if we look at his stats this season, so we have matches played here. We have, what's that? That's 37 games played, and he scored 16 goals, and he's got 6 assists. Not bad, not a bad return. But what I want to go through with people here, let me just zoom in on this so you can see it a little bit better here. So there we go. There we go. What I want to go through is some of his, some of the percentiles for him here. Now, these percentiles are obviously based on, let me just X off that. I don't know what game is going on there. So these are based on, how good he is. The higher the number here, the better the player is. Okay, so if we're looking at goals, for example, okay, so statistics, non-penalty goals, he's in the 98th percentile range. Non-penalty XG goals, which are his expected goals, are in the 99 percentile. Okay, total shots is in the 97%. If we go down here, pass completion, 99% pass completion, which is phenomenal, really is. You're looking at an 85.4% pass completion per 90 minutes, which is just phenomenal. It really is. Successful take-ons. So this guy is able to take on defenders, which we all know we like to see. Garnacho, for example. We love to see it at Manchester United. Again, he's in the 99 percentile there. Touches in the attacking penalty area, he's in the 97 percentile. So this guy is well able to get involved. He really is. I like what I see here. Now, you can go down and look at some of the... Sorry, where are we? Here we go. This is some of the more in-depth statistics. And obviously, we went through that there. So if we look at shooting, obviously goals, we've done total shots. So total shots is there. XG, 99, non-penalty XG. So this one I always like. Non-penalty expected goals per shot. 0.17, 96%, which is really good. Now, if we go to passing, like we said, pass completion, 99%. So we look, it breaks it down here. Medium length passing, 99%. Long passing, 99%. It's all looking good. He tends to switch the ball quite well as well, 83%. Passes blocked, 99%. What's this? Successful take-ons that lead to shots attempted, 83%. Shots that lead to another shot attempt, 90%. These are all really, really good stats. Possession, touches, we said that, 97%. Take-ons attempted, 97%. Successful take-ons, 99%. It all makes for really good reading. I like this guy. Now, would you rather, I know a wide forward is probably not our main area of concern, but if you can get a guy who has them kind of statistics for £40 million, give him to me now. Just hook it to my veins. I'm liking what I'm hearing. Let's see what you're saying here. Easy as in says, hi from South Africa. Good to see you, pal. Niall says, the stats are good. They certainly are. Chris says, bring Kane and Kudus next summer. Ferguson. Let's see. Easy says, how do you feel about the Neymar story? He's a winger, which we don't need. Yeah, we don't need Neymar, regardless. If he was a striker, I still wouldn't want him. Paul says, that young lad in Brighton and Cisco just scored a screamer. And it's 1-1. Okay. And Oshin says, there are 3 types of lies. Lies, damned lies, and statistics. 22-year-old playing in, let's be straight, a farmers league. Now, these percentiles, I'm pretty sure, are not based on individual leagues. They're not based on individual leagues. These are based on world football. I'm pretty certain it's not wait now. You could be right. Just give me 1 sec. No, I mean they're still up there. Yeah, look, they're still. Yeah, so it is. It's based around. It's based on the top leagues. From what I'm reading there. But anyway, look, I know I don't want to get overly heavy, in relation to statistics either. But statistics give you a good outline of the type of player you're going to get, and that, I mean, Ten Hag working with this guy again, and I can understand, and I've heard some rumblings and some frustrations from Manchester United fans, slight rumblings of, oh no, he's going back to Ajax again. Now, we know the players we've signed from Ajax have been good players, but there has to come a point where you need to get players from other places than the Eredivisie. And I understand what people are saying in that standpoint. I really do. But I like to look at this guy. I really do. Let's see. Paul says, what about Bowen of West Ham? He would not be a bad signing. No, I don't think he would be. I don't think he would be at all. Again, we're working off of, I think he had a good season last season. I don't think he's been magnificent this year. Yeah, look, I think it's very easy for us, and that's why I kind of stopped myself there. It's very easy for us to put down players that are playing in the Premier League already, just because we watch them week in, week out, whereas Jared Bowen might be a way better player than this Kudus chap. But I don't watch him week in, week out. So, a lot of the time when foreign players are coming in, we get really excited because we've never seen them play before. Whereas then if you go and try and buy a Jared Bowen, for example, you're going, oh, Jared Bowen, what? Where chances are he could be better than 70 or 80% of the guys on the continent. So there you go. Chris says, Kudus is a quality player, very similar to Nkunku. Easy says, what about the Mason Mount story? Yep, we covered it already. If you want to rewind, Easy. And Oshin says, sure, Bowen couldn't leave West Ham. His father-in-law would disown him. So, yeah, I want to move it on, guys, to the final story in relation to potential outgoings. And this will be interesting. Oshin specifically, it's in relation to Jadon Sancho. Now, reports are suggesting that Manchester United star told he's on borrowed time amid rumours mystery player could return to Bundesliga. Now, a lot of speculation on this one, of course. But it's something that we've talked about over our videos in the last few weeks that, it seems to be a growing concern within the Manchester United fan base in relation to Jadon Sancho. There is fans that are getting, I suppose they're running out of patience with him. Me being one. Chris says it there, hashtag sell Sancho, so Dwight York. Now, again, look, we know Dwight York. We know Dwight York was hyping up Ole Gunnar Solskjaer ahead of Ten Hag only a couple of weeks ago. But he claims that United winger Jadon Sancho is on borrowed time at Old Trafford as the England international hasn't lived up to the price tag. So, look, Oshin says, good luck. I'll help him pack and drop him to the door, no charge. So, let me just put it out there to anybody watching. Do you sell Sancho this summer or do you hang on to him for one more year? That's the question. the last thing you would want to see is Jadon Sancho being sold and he absolutely burning it up somewhere else. That is the last thing we would want to see. But on the flip side of that, he hasn't given us anything to grasp onto in relation to backing him up and saying you deserve to stay. So I can see both sides of the argument. I really can. I think we should sell him. I think we should sell him. I think we should sell him and reinvest that money specifically into another wide player. Because if you sell Sancho, you have Antony, Rashford, Garnacho. Is that it? Pellistri, maybe, probably a bit young. So that's what you're looking at, So I think if we sell Sancho, we have to go into the market for another winger. We really do. Now, we go back to this guy would be an ideal replacement. Now, do you go to Ajax and say, we'll give you Jadon Sancho, give us this guy plus 20 million or whatever. I don't think Sancho is probably not even worth 60 million now. But, let's do a straight swap or whatever it may be. I don't think that would be a bad bit of business. I really don't. Oshin says, first out the door, in my opinion, big fish in a small pond. Easy says, Sancho, I've given up on him. These England players, very overrated and overpriced. Chris says, everyone complains about Anthony's decision-making and being one-footed. Sancho is worse. Brian says, we can't have Rashford going into a depression if we get rid of Sancho. And Chris says, sell Sancho and buy Kudus. There we go. Yeah, like we were saying there. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Jadon Sancho. It really is. And I don't think Ten Hag is going to sell him. I don't think he will. In my opinion, I don't think you will. I think there's more areas of concern at the moment. There really is. And I think, obviously, we're going for you're going for your Harry Kane. Number one target, get it done as quickly as possible. Once that is done, then we can move on and look at other areas. We really can. But until then, I still have a feeling this Harry Kane is going to drag on. I really do. Daniel Levy is not an easy man to deal with. But guys, look, we're going to leave it there. I appreciate everybody watching. If you haven't already done so, smash a like on the video. It helps the channel out an awful lot. Hit subscribe if you're new to the channel as well. We will be back tomorrow night for the big one. Manchester United versus Chelsea in the Premier League. United only need a point from the final 2 games to secure Champions League football for next year. But we want to go out and get 3 points. Third place is up for grabs. If we can win tomorrow night, it is our game in hand on Newcastle. We go into 3rd position in the league. So we want to be able to move up the league as much as possible and finishing as high a position as possible. But yeah, make sure you're joining us for that, guys. We'll be live from 7:30 tomorrow night. So set a reminder. I'll have the link up tomorrow afternoon, so keep an eye out for that as well. Check out the TikTok. Plenty of TikToks going up. YouTube Shorts as well are starting to get big, guys. For anybody who's into all of that, TikTok and YouTube Shorts, make sure you check them out as well. But I appreciate everybody watching, guys. Until tomorrow night, take it easy. Peace out.